What kind of music you listening to?
I listen to everything, man. I do. I listen to a lot of classic rock for whatever reason. But I've been listening to a lot of Kanye West over the last few weeks.
Tell me, what is he talking about?
Kanye?
Yeah.
Well, he's talking about a lot of crazy shit. He actually talked about DMT in one of his recent songs.
Really? You think he did that before?
I think he did.
Oh, man.
Well, I know he's friends with Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi been in here, and Kid Cudi's had some psychedelic experiences.
Yeah. Once you go there, it's just you don't want to do nothing else again.
Well, it puts it all in the perspective. It lets you see that as much as this thing seems to be important, this is all temporary, and you're a part of forever.
And it also allows you to become comfortable with death.
Yeah. Yeah, you know who said that? Larry Hagman. Remember that guy Dallas?
Yeah.
From JR
from Dallas.
He did an interview with CNN once.
And I Dream of Jeannie as well.
Yeah, that's right. He sprung it on him on CNN once. He was talking about how he did acid. He took a big dose of acid, and he's never worried about death ever again. That it just alleviated his worry about passing on.
That's wild. It's just that because I felt the same way. I said, wow, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. I think DMT even more specifically because they think
why does it affect the mind that way? What causes it to affect the mind that way?
They don't totally know.
That it make it visualize everything.
They don't totally know. They know that your brain makes it. They know that your body makes it, they should say. They know that it's produced in your liver and their lungs, and there's some evidence now because they found it in rats that the pineal gland produces it, which is like, that's the third eye of Eastern mysticism. That gland actually, in rats, they've proven produces DMT, and they think it does so in people, too.
Once I did, I wanted to do it again and again and again. And they said, you shouldn't do it too much, Mike. But I was like, man, I got to, grasp what's going on here. Why am I feeling this? Like, why did this, in a weird way, humbled you?
I don't think you should listen to the people who say you shouldn't do it too much. I think you should do it as much as you want.
That's what I agree with, too.
Yeah.
I agree.
You could handle it. If you could handle being Mike Tyson, you can handle doing DMT a few times.
DMT, yeah, that's where I think I'm going. I think I'm going in that direction.
Well, I mean, it's not something you should do all day, every day, but you can learn a lot from it. It's very beneficial and very strange that it's illegal. It's illegal.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Even though, Terrence McKenna had a joke about it because your body's making it, so everybody's holding. We all have it. It's illegal, but it's like making blood illegal. Everybody has it.
Isn't it wild when they go to Sonora Desert when they find these toads?
Yeah. Yeah, I've never experienced it from the toad. I've only
watched
experienced
it on television.
With the way they extract it?
Yeah, they grab him and they squeeze it. They bust his pimples and they bust it on the glass of mirror and then they take it off and they let it harden.
Yeah, they let it dry in the sun. They scrape it off with a razor blade.
Yes.
I've only had it synthetically made in a laboratory. You used to be able to buy it online. You used to be able to buy like a fucking can of it, like this big, enough to get like a whole state high. This is the story of DMT, or dimethyltryptamine, a simple compound found throughout nature which has profound effects on human consciousness.
Even though it's the most powerful psychedelic drug known to man, it's in every single ecosystem all over the world. It exists in plants and grasses, and it's everywhere. I mean, it's really the craziest drug to be illegal everywhere because everyone's got it in their system. It's like everyone's holding. That was like Terrence McKenna's line. Yeah, and it's pretty intense stuff, man. If you do it, you will talk to intelligent beings from other dimensions, for real. I mean, it sounds crazy. You would think that if there's something like that, that it would be on the front page. It's amazing that people don't know about it. I mean, it's the most incredible experience. I mean, we are such an experience-obsessed society. I mean, everybody wants to go whitewater rafting, and people want to talk about, my uncle climbed Mount Everest. It's all about experiences. We all want to ride roller coasters and see the craziest movies. There is a little powder, and you smoke this little powder, and it will change the way you look at everything. You won't care about UFOs. If a UFO landed right out there, I'd be like, wow, yeah, they're probably from another planet. Whatever. It's not DMT. DMT is 100,000 times crazier than that. It's like mushrooms times 1 million plus aliens. That's what it's like. And literally, I mean, it sounds, it's crazier than you could possibly imagine or describe. If you take DMT, you will communicate with something. And it's so beyond description that me talking about it is like trying to explain a kaleidoscope to a blind man. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like, there's no way you could explain it. I mean, it's so beyond anything you can explain. But something communicates with you when you do this stuff. And my words do it no justice. the craziest thing about DMT, because DMT is literally like having a meeting with God. It's like having a meeting with divine, unbelievably wise, incredibly loving energy, like whatever it is, the source of everything. And it leaves you so humbled that after it's over, you have it's like literally like you're still you still look like you still wear the same clothes you are, but you're not really you anymore. I mean, you literally have been changed. You know, you have experienced something that very few humans experience. And the thought to me that people can go through their entire lives and not know about this is an incredible waste of time. It's like your life could be so much more positive and so much more interesting and fascinating, and you would be so much more humble and aware.
I'd hit a tape recorder right when I became conscious again and start talking about the experience. And what I remember saying about the 5-methoxy DMT experience is like, as I'm trying to recount what happened, I feel my ego trying to retake hold of the situation and even use words in a way that might impress you with my ability to describe things. Or as you know, as a professional comedian too, I was aware that like a lot of what you're doing, you're saying things in a way that's pleasing to people so that they get excited about hearing you talk. And I was very aware of that while I was doing that. I'm saying I'm trying to explain things that are not possible to explain because the words that we're using were all invented for a world that doesn't exist in the DMT dimension. And once you break through, it is so profoundly alien that any words...
And liberating?
Yes. Yeah. Well, in a way, I mean, it made me really, truly realize that we are in a soup of atoms. And that it's not, there's not like Michael Pollan, Joe Rogan, and Jamie Vernon in a room. Here's a wood table. There's oxygen between us. No, we're in a universal stew of particles. And it breaks those particles down, or at least it gives you a view into that. And you cease to exist, which is the most bizarre thing because it's so similar to N,N-dimethyltryptamine chemically, but so different in
experience.
The fact that you're not there. While you're doing regular, like N,N-dimethyltryptamine, which is the active ingredient in ayahuasca. Have you done that, the pure version of it?
No, not the pure version.
The pure version is like a very short, much more intense ayahuasca experience. I've never done ayahuasca. I've only done the DMT version. But
by injection or
no smoking it. But what you get out of it is you're there while this is happening, and you're just blown away, and you're like, I can't believe
that's true in
what I'm
ayahuasca
seeing.
too. You're present.
But there's all these entities that are trying to calm you down. Relax, take it in, settle down. They're all trying to calm you down and
that's
alleviate. Helpful. Yeah, it's weird, you know, and they're also fucking with you. Like they give you the finger. Like I had a bunch of jokers that were like dancing around me, giving me the finger.
Did you have machine elves too?
I don't believe in that thing. I don't know what that is. Like McKenna had those experiences of machine elves. I saw it, what I described as complex geometric patterns that are made out of love and understanding. They seem to me to be like the building blocks of the soul all around you all the time.
Wow.
Like some just gigantic, impossibly large, infinite well of souls. Just these things dancing around you, and they were never one thing. They would be one thing for a second, and they change into something else, and then they change into something different. And the more profound the experiences got, the more profound the next one would be. And they kept saying, like, look at this. Like, but the words weren't real words. That's the other thing. It's like I'm saying the words, look at this. And I would have that in my head, but I never heard anybody say it. It was almost like it was triggering the concept of those words in my mind. I did DMT 3 times in a day.
Wow.
And the third time, it was a really strong one. And it fucked me up for a while. I don't remember how long afterwards, but this was during the Fear Factor days. But I remember reality, the way I described it, the reality was very slippery.
Yeah.
Very slippery. Like I kept thinking that cars were going to fly over the incoming lane and crash into my car and kill me.
Oh, real slippery.
Yeah, I kept thinking, like, be really careful. But then I realized that what that is like my ego trying to protect me by making me aware of imminent threats and trying to reestablish its position as in the chain of command. Because like one of the things about really extreme psychedelic experiences that they dissolve the ego to the point where you realize like you don't really matter. Like you're a part of some crazy system, and the only reason why you think you really matter is because your biology wants to stay alive, because there's these inherent existential threats to your existence that have always existed throughout time. And ultimately though, it doesn't matter, because you're just going to live and die and probably live again and die again, and this is like this never-ending cycle. Yeah, and you're part of some.
One of those guys said,
thing.
anytime you're like fighting it, like you're just like it just means you haven't taken it enough. I think that was like Terrence McKenna or one of those guys was like, you just have to take more and then you can't fight it, and then you're just gone.
Yeah, but I was fucked up for a while.
Really?
But I was functional. I was real nervous and weirded out by things.
How long? How long?
Weeks, maybe months.
Why'd you do it 3 times in a day? Were you trying to do that on purpose, or were you just
I did
like bored?
it. The first time was light. I went in, but I didn't go in too deep.
Yeah.
But I saw the visuals, and I lay there, and I was like, I got to the door, and I could see through the windows of the house, but I didn't go inside. The second time, it just like opened up a fucking vortex and sucked me through to the center of the universe. And then it was really, really, really intense. And then I did it again after that. It's because I loved it, because it was so awesome. I wanted to do it one more time. DMT is the psychoactive ingredient that's in ayahuasca. And it's the most potent psychedelic.
Seems like a cleaner way to do it, as opposed to ayahuasca, where you throw up and shit yourself.
Yeah. It's definitely probably. It's also quicker. Like the longest it's going to take is like 15 or 20 minutes. But there's some places that are doing it now where they're doing it intravenously. So those trips are apparently, that was how they did it in. There's a book called DMT, the Spirit Molecule by this guy, Dr. Rick Strassman, who did all these studies out of the University of New Mexico. And they were the first FDA-approved clinical studies.
He did it with a group of people?
Yeah.
I think I saw something about that.
It was amazing, but they
were
did
in a
it
hospital, and they did it intravenously.
Yeah, and they were gonzo for like 40 minutes, like, boom, off into the other dimension.
I was going to say, so other dimension, right? This dream state? Do you think it's like a dream state?
It's very similar, because they believe that your brain during heavy REM sleep also produces DMT. And they think that's...
Because we all have it. We all have DMT.
Everybody has it. Yeah. Everybody has it.
It's naturally occurring in everyone.
Yes. It's produced by your liver, your lungs, and... Now they know it's also produced, at least in rats, by your pineal gland, which is literally your third eye. It actually, in certain reptiles, it actually has a retina and a lens.